Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, here is the direction for the next module. We have to do this first. Bam. Go here. Go here. Go here. Go here. Go here. Go to computer game design. Go to computer aided drawing. Go to web development. Go to classwork. And we're going to go to the last project, responsive website with flex boxes. Okay, so you're using what you learned in mod 11 for mod 12. You're basically going to build a website that is based on flex boxes. So what I want you to do is read the directions first. There are 3 parts here, as you see, part 3, part 2, and part 1. Part 1 are the sketches of a layout, and here's an example of what I mean by a sketch of a layout. So this is what I've done. I've used some websites as examples, and I've used their alignment, their layout for my sketch inspiration, and I created this using that. So this would be laid out very simply with this is a flex box, this is a flex box, this is a flex box, this is a flex box. But what I want you to do is you can do that as well, but here's another example of what I'm looking for as well. So I'll go to... So I've split this up into 2 sections. This is very similar. This is actually the layout that is the example on W3 schools. I just kind of used this as a test, and I put this together from memory to try to duplicate that. So that's why it looks exactly the same, because it basically is. I've included texture, so you're gonna have to do that. There's a section on texture I'm gonna get to in a second, but this was basically laid out with 2 flex boxes. So one over here that occupies 30% of the left, I've named this flex box side, and then just like the example in W3 schools, this is main. This occupies 70%. So then that's pretty easy. If I would have done a sketch out layout of that, it would have looked a little bit different than this. So what I want you to do is that you don't have to do that in Photoshop, you don't have to do it with color, you can do it in OneNote, you can do it in Microsoft Word, you can do it on paper. But what I want you to do is be conscious of the layout. You're not just going to wing this. I want you to have a plan, a map that you're going to design off of. You don't have to use color, but when you do make the website, I do want you to use color, and you are going to go, you can either create a palette or find a palette. So if you're going to create a palette, one of the links that I've included is coolers.co, and when you come to this website, if you press spacebar, it will load up a new color palette for you, and then here are the hex numbers down here. So you can use these, and what I would like you to do is try to use one color as the main color, and then use another color as a highlight or an accent color that you use very minimally, and then the other colors you can use extremely minimally if at all. If at all. So going back to the directions here, what I want you to do is include, that's part 1, I want 2 sketches, and then part 2 are textures and fonts. So fonts, I want you to be very specific with the fonts. So you can just type in CSS fonts, and you can go to a list of fonts and see what they look like. And let's see, where can you go? There are a bunch of different websites that will give you different font types. Okay, find something that you like and stick to that. Stick to one font as your main font, and then just like the color, you can use another one as an accent, but I want you to be specific. Don't use the basic font that that is standard with HTML, which I don't know what it is, but in this one I made Courier New, and I didn't use any other fonts as an accent font. So that's pretty easy. I want you to be very specific with what you choose. What font best represents what you're going for. If you're doing a very serious website, you wouldn't use Comic Sans. It's very goofy. Or if you're doing a very goofy website, maybe you do a very, very serious font. But so textures is another thing that I want you to add. As you can see here from mine, I've added textures and the color palette. So I want everything to have, everything that can have a texture to have a texture. So you can change the opacity of the texture so the colors bleed through. You can do that with opacity in CSS, or you can do it in Photoshop, creating textures as low opacity PNGs that you place over a div or a flex item box, and then the color in the background will shine through. So bonus points if you make your own textures, if you take photographs of textures and then you use them yourself. But what I want you to do is include textures, and you can do that with textures that specifically apply to what your website is all about, because the website is supposed to be on one main topic, and I want your website to be professional looking, and I want it to be cohesive. Don't use a bunch of random text. I want this to be an actual website about one topic. And then the nav bar, you need 3 links. I've created a static texture here for this. So if we go to the directions again, the requirements for the website are right here. I'll let you read that. I am going to be grading you off of how well it looks off of this. So design it well, and I want you to explain to me when I'm grading it, this right here. So I'll be looking for all this stuff. Make sure that all the content, the images, the headlines, the headers, and the P tags all involve content about the subject that your website is all about. So create a color palette. I want textures on everything. Don't overdo it. Make the textures look nice as well as you can. And make sure you read all the directions here. That's it.